Last week I did a video talking about the NAR settlement, which is going to affect sellers and buyers. And during that video, I started talking about the buyer-broker agreement and said, you know what? I don't want to get into those weeds. I'll do another video. Well, you know what? That's what I'm talking about today. Stick around. Hi, welcome back. My name's Joe Brown. I'm a realtor with Century 21, List with Beggins, located in South Tampa. Thank you so much for being here with me today. So I have here the buyer-broker agreement that is now in existence. Now, it's been around for several years. The Florida Realtor Association has said that they're going to revise the buyer-broker agreement. That has not happened yet. So some of the information I'm going to share with you now may change, but I would think it wouldn't change too much, okay? So basically, if you have not watched the NAR settlement, go back. I'll put a link to it here. It's about a 13-minute video explaining what the settlement says and does. And so basically, sellers and seller's listing agent will no longer put on MLS what the compensation offered by sellers is. That does not mean sellers are not offering compensation. And in fact, it's really in their best interest to offer compensation. But because of that, agents that work with buyers need to protect themselves, right? We don't work for free. I don't think you work for free. Maybe you do, but most people don't work for free. And so the buyer-broker agreement, it really protects the buyer's agent to get paid in case of a transaction. So this is how it would work. So right here, it's an agreement between a buyer and a broker. And this agreement specifies what type of property are you looking for. Is it a condo? Is it a single-family home, a mobile home? Could be any residential property, right? And what's the price range? It specifies whether you've been pre-qualified or pre-approved and with who. With whom. What's the lender that you're using? And then there's also a time frame. This agreement is in place for a certain amount of time. It can be 3 months, 4 months, it could be a year, however long. And then there's the duties of the broker. So if I'm the broker, I'm an agent working for a broker. But in this case, there's duties that I will perform. I will search for homes. I will work with you to find the home that's right for you. I will negotiate the contract. I will be there for inspections. I will negotiate with the other agent. Just to make sure that the transaction happens as smoothly and to your benefit. So, and then there's also obligations for you, the buyer, right? You have to be honest with when you tell me about your finances. You have to be willing to go look at properties at a convenient time, right? If I'm trying to communicate, you can't ghost. So some of those are the obligations. Now, it may, and this form has a retainer. So a retainer, just like if you work with a lawyer, the lawyer may say, I need $1,000 retainer. And then as I do work, that goes against the retainer. But if, in this case, home selling, right, I get paid a retainer, but then the house sells and the seller is offering compensation to me as the buyer's agent, well, you've already given me that retainer. That retainer credits what I get from the other agent, right? Now, it could very well be brokers won't charge a retainer at all and just work off the commission. Once a contract is in place and the deal closes, then the buyer's agent gets paid. How we get paid, as I said before, very well could be from the seller's side. However, in this agreement that we sign even before we go look at houses, it specifies how much am I going to get paid. So in this case, it could be 3%, that you as the buyer will pay me 3% of the purchase price of the house. Where that money comes from could be from the seller, or if not from the seller, then from you, the buyer. Or a combination of the two. Maybe the seller's offering 2%, then you have to pay the other 1%, because my contract with you says you will pay me 3%. Now, this is where it kind of gets into weeds, right? So let's say you and I'm saying you because you're the buyer, you and I are going out, we're looking at homes, and I show you 3705 Main Street, and then I show you 3618 San Jose, and I show you many different homes. And you and I have an agreement that you're going to pay me 3% for the close of that deal. But then you say, you know what? This agent, who's a friend of mine, said they're only going to charge me 1%. So you say, Joe, I'm going to cancel the contract. And you know what? You can do that. You can cancel this contract at any time in writing. However, what's in here too is a holdover period. It's a protection period. Could be 30 days, could be 60 days. That's negotiable. But what that says is if I show you a house, 3705 Main Street, and you terminate this contract, but then you go to another agent and buy that house I showed you, I still get paid. So not only do you have to pay me, you also have to pay the agent you're working with, right? So that's what I said at the beginning. This buyer-broker agreement protects the buyer's agent to get paid, but it also specifies the duties that I'm going to perform on your behalf. So let's talk about that termination and the holdover period, right? So again, it could be 30 days or 60 days. That's negotiable. Now, it's quite different. Let's say we have buyer-broker agreement for 4 months. Well, after 2 months, you say, Joe, let's terminate this. This isn't working. I say, fine, put it in writing. This is terminated. But then the other agent turns around and shows you a house I never even showed you. You know what? This is not in play at that point because it's not a house I showed you. This only protects me if you end up purchasing a house that I showed you and that I sent you via MLS. We still have MLS. So it could very well be I send you a property, I don't show it to you, right? I don't show it to you, but I send you the property. If you end up buying that, I'm still the first cause, right? I sent you the property. But if the other agent shows you a totally different property, then this buyer-broker agreement is not in place. I hope I didn't get too much into the weeds there, right? But this agreement specifies you and I are in a relationship. I am going to help you buy a house. You can terminate this relationship at any time. However, there's a period which protects me, right? Yeah, but it's a formal agreement. Sometimes we have buyers sometimes that say, hey, Joe, I want to see this house. Then they go to another agent. Hey, I want to go see this house. So buyers are working with different agents. Well, this is a formal agreement. If you sign this with me, I am your agent until either a contract closes or you terminate this agreement. Anyway, if you have questions, reach out to me. Go to my website, joebrownc21.com. Send me an email. I have the blog out there about the NAR settlement. I'll put a blog out there about this just so you can read some of the notes. Next week will be a look back at the real estate market in March. Until then, take care.